Okay. So welcome everybody to our first session of the hands-on sessions for the Automation Studio Bootcamp. Today we're going to be building out the ETL automation in Automation Studio that's going to update, maintain subscriber preferences in Marketing Cloud, typically in all subscribers database. Before we dive in, let's take a look at our upcoming sessions. We've got a session tomorrow on the different ways to send email communications in Automation Studio. We're taking a pause next week, but returning the following week for 3 more sessions you can see there. We also will be taking a pause next week for our hands-on session, but coming back the following week where Maggie Ellis will be leading the team through an automation fed journey end to end. So please share in the chat if you'd like to be a builder. Welcome to have you for those sessions. Okay, let's talk about our use case today, building out that ETL process in Automation Studio. So we did have a session on this on Thursday of last week in our a fundamental session where we walk through it, but we're going to be building that from scratch today. And so the use case is that, Cervelo Bank or really any company, they're looking to, streamline how they're capturing consent, managing preferences between multiple environments. In our example today, we're going to be using Salesforce CRM and Marketing Cloud, aligning those preferences together using in Marketing Cloud that ETL process to either subscribe or change a subscriber status to active or unsubscribe them depending on the preferences of the Salesforce CRM environment. So, sometimes clients do have, oftentimes clients do have a problem having these two systems, be in alignment, and then having an automated way to sort of best practices to make that alignment happen, which is that ETL process, which we're going to build today. So we'll be going through and we'll have those, in part of our solution, we'll have those objects synced in the Marketing Cloud. We're going to build that ETL automation. I'll be sharing my screen on the FileZilla side so we can see those files being dropped into the SFTP, just to have visibility in there. And then if we have time, we'll look to hopefully update the Salesforce CRM as well. And as Lan's going to be going through building here, we're going to be building out the following activities. The ETL process is the data extract, file transfer, import activity, but it's all going to be started with a query. And then we may use a script or a journey to update the CRM side as well. So I'll just give, sorry, I've got the name here incorrectly. Let me quickly fix that. My bad. That was our prior builder. So I've got that spelled correctly. I could be wrong. So Lan, do you want to give us a quick introduction and background on your experience in Marketing Cloud?
Hi, so I just finished with Climb Higher in their marketing digital camp. And so I'm trying to learn more about Salesforce and how to get more hands-on experience with that.
Awesome. And you've been a builder before. I think you were a builder on the Journey Builder Bootcamp.
Yes, I was. And so I was just starting my journey with learning about what you guys are doing, the awesomeness you're teaching everybody else and sharing your knowledge. It's awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining and being a builder today. And then just to set the stage for what we're going to be doing today, we've got, sorry, let me just refresh that screen. We've got Lan created as a lead in Salesforce CRM. And we also have her set up as a subscriber in Marketing Cloud. So I just wanted to show the Salesforce CRM side real quick. We've got her as a use case where in the Salesforce CRM side, we've got the checkbox that has opted out of email in the Salesforce CRM side. So it's indicating that, that this lead does not want to be receiving communications ongoing. So let me just show how that checkbox is checked. You can see this email opt-out field in the Salesforce CRM environment. So what we've got, as Lan will show in the Marketing Cloud environment, her subscriber should be subscribed or active. And so what we want to do is build an ETL automation that pulls in Lan as a subscriber, populates that information in a data extension, and then we're going to update all subscribers using the ETL process. So let me stop sharing, and then Lan will have you share Marketing Cloud, and we'll start building out that query in Marketing Cloud to pull in that record. Okay, fantastic. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into all subscribers and just sort of see this lead, this subscriber that I just shared in the chat. So if we go under Email Studio, and we'll click on email. And if you go to the subscribers tab at the top, and then if you click on the all subscribers section right there, and if you click on the all subscribers under that name, hopefully pull up the all subscribers menu. And try that one more time. Sometimes it just takes a second for all subscribers. So there we go. And then if you click on that search button on the left, yep. And then we're going to want to change that where it says search where from email address to subscriber key. Yep. And then we're going to want to paste in that. Yep, perfect. Now let's hit find now. And we should see your, okay, so we see you as, looks like you're yellow shirted as a bounced. Or no, is that green? Looks like it's green. Hard to see on the end. Looks like that you're subscribed. Yep, okay, that looks good. So that's what we want to, this is the use case. We've got Lan in the Salesforce CRM side. She has been indicated that she wants to opt out of all communications. We see her in Marketing Cloud where she is an active record. Now, I think we all know that we can manually change this. So Lan, if you double click on your little character there, we can go into manually and click on that unsubscribe from all, and that will unsubscribe her. So you can handle that on a case-by-case basis, but we want to build an automated process that can handle this on bulk, that runs, every morning, that is pulling and that, those subscriber statuses from, a third-party platform or from Salesforce, checking against all subscribers and updating all subscribers in an automated fashion. So that's why we need to build that ETL tool. So let's just keep this tab open because we'll probably come back at the end of our session. Hopefully we'll move you to a red shirt. Let's just duplicate this tab, and then we're going to go into the query. We're going to go into Query Studio to build out the first part of this ETL, which is the query that we're going to need to identify you. Okay, so fantastic. So if we go over to App Exchange over there on the right, and then, okay, good. We need to, hold on one second. I just need to grant you access to Query Studio. Let me just go into setup real quick and do that. And Query Studio. Okay, so let me just make sure I add you here. Let's see when. Okay. Save. Okay, let's try. If you go back into your tab in Query Studio, and then if you just hit the refresh button, hopefully you should have that now as a. There we go. Sorry about that. Should have had that set up before. If we have time, we can go into that package and show you how that. So we'll click into Query Studio, and you know what I also need to do? Let me just see if I've got you to. I might need to have you go into the. If you go to the upper right and where that hands-on external is on your business unit, I just need to modify your business units, and then that will solve that problem. Manage business units. And okay, if you hit refresh one more time, that should bring you up to our. We'll bring you up to our parent business unit. That's where we're going to be pulling in those sync data extensions. Yeah, so if you go to partner main, yep. And then I think you should have access to Query Studio, and this it should refresh. Okay, there we go. So sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to create our first query to pull in your data to populate that data extension. So whenever I'm creating a query, I just typically type out this select. So if you type out select all in caps at the top, and then hit return a couple of times. And then we're going to do from all in caps, and then hit returns a couple of times. And then let's do a where all in caps. Okay, so for this use case, we are pulling in leads from Salesforce CRM. So we want to, in our from statement, which is where this data is coming from, we want to use the lead synchronized data extension as our from, yeah. And let's just duplicate this tab. We're going to need to go to that data extension just to get the appropriate syntax for it. Yeah, so if we go into the blue cloud in the upper left-hand corner, we're going to go over to Contact Builder. So that's under Audience Builder. Yeah, and then we click on Contact Builder. This should show all of our synchronized data extensions. One of them will be the lead synchronized data extension, which we'll use to, if we go to data extensions at the top, it should be the tab right at the very top in the center. There you go. And then in the synchronized data extensions, if you click over there on that folder on the left in that, yep. And if you just click on the folder, perfect. Now in that folder listing, if you click on the name column, it'll sort it alphabetically. Yep. And then if you scroll down, we're looking for the lead Salesforce. Yeah, we'll click into that. And we'll be referencing this a little bit. So let's copy that lead underscore Salesforce. You see that at the top, you can copy that syntax. Yep. Now we can bring that into our query and paste that in there. Yep. And then let's name this. So we're going to do a space, and then we're going to do a capital AS. And then we're going to do an L. So we know that this is the, yes, perfect. Okay, fantastic. And then what we're going to want to do is, so we've got our lead database from the Salesforce CRM environment, the lead object. Now we want to add in our all subscribers database. And we're going to join these two together. So let's hit return where you are on that line. And then let's do a join. We're going to do a join to this data extension or this database. And then to get to the all subscribers database, we're going to want to check the data views. So let's create if you click on your contact builder tab, let's just duplicate this tab. Okay, fantastic. And then we'll keep this open for a second. Let's go to a brand new tab altogether, a Google tab. So if you hit the plus sign over there on the right, yep. And then if you search for Marketing Cloud data views, yep, we'll click on that data views. Perfect. And then it's the top search, yep. This is a list of all those data views. So that all subscribers database in the admin business unit, which we're in, is the subscriber data view. So if we scroll down a little bit there on the left, we should be able to see in the little menu, yeah, keep scrolling a little further. We should see subscribers somewhere down there. Yeah, so you see that subscribers data view. Yeah, we'll click there. And then this will give you all the different fields and then also the syntax. So you can see in the, yeah, those are all the different fields. And at the top of this page, there's a syntax. You see that underscore subscribers in that first sentence? So it says to view email. So it's, yep, you want to copy that underscore and the underscore as well. Yep, copy that. Let's bring that to our query. And then you can paste that in the join, right where you've got the cursor, perfect. Let's do an as after that as well. And then let's do a capital S for subscribers, S as in subscribers, perfect. Now we need to join these two data extensions. So we're gonna do a space and an on. And then if we go back to the data views, we're going to look for a field that we know will match the records that we're looking for. Now the subscriber ID could be one, but I think we'll go with subscriber key. That should be the lead ID. So we'll copy that subscriber key, go back to the query, and paste that in there. Now you're going to want to put an S dot before that subscriber key. So, yep, and then we're going to do an equals. And then we're going to go back to the lead synchronized data extension. We need to find the syntax for its ID, which should just be that ID field down there. I think it's the 7th one down. So we can just copy that or we can type it in. Yeah. And that's going to be in our query. So it's going to be L.ID. Perfect. Awesome. Fantastic. So now we've got these two databases connected so that we can, check and validate the data that's in both of them. So we're going to need a couple of things here in our select statement. So this is where we're going to be outputting the data that we need in our data extension. So we can start there at the first line. And the first thing that we're going to need is that subscriber key. That's good. We're going to use to identify that subscriber key in Marketing Cloud. So let's use that L.ID. That's the first value that we're going to want to output. And then let's do an as on that as well. And then let's just call that subscriber key. Just because it's labeled a little bit more universally. So if you're doing this for contacts or leads, you can have in your data extension subscriber key. It works for both. Okay, fantastic. That's the most important field, right? We need to identify what subscriber are we doing the update to in the ETL. Fantastic. Let's hit return. And then let's do a comma. So whenever yeah, but we'll do if you remove that comma there, yep. And then if we start the next line with a comma, so sort of like a little tip whenever you're doing a query, if you start your second line with a comma every time, you'll never forget to put a comma at the end of a line. So we typically like to start with a comma. The next field that we need on that lead is the email address. And it's just good just to have as a reference point. So let's go back to the lead synchronized data extension, and let's go find the field that probably has email address. And I think it was up at the top. I think it was email. Yeah, so we'll copy over that email field. And we're going to paste that in. So we want to make that to the L dot. Perfect. And then let's hit return. Perfect. Now, for this scenario, we want to populate a status field that's going to indicate for all subscribers what that status should be. Now, we're going to sort of manually force this. So we're going to be changing this subscriber status from active to unsubscribed. So if you do a single quote here, and we're just going to type in unsubscribed. Yep, and let's make that lowercase. The syntax for all the subscriber statuses in Marketing Cloud are not capitalized. And then we're going to do an as. And then let's just call that status. Perfect. And we'll do another line. Now we want to pull in from the lead object if that field that has opted out of email field is true or not. So we want to first see the data. So if we go to the lead synchronized data extension, we want to find that has opted out field. I think it's right below email. See that has opted out of email? Let's copy that field. We're going to paste that into that query. So that'll output that for us. Perfect. Let's hit return. And then the last field we're going to want is the subscriber, the status for that subscriber data view. So if you go to your data view, we should be able to find a field called status. There it is. Let's copy that status. And we'll put that in the query. And then let's do an as on this. Yep, perfect. We're going to do an S dot. Perfect. On that, that was your indication. And then let's just name this subscriber status. Because we have status already on line 3, we need to sort of name that differently. Okay, perfect. And then we're going to just we're just going to output this for just yourself, Lan. So in the where clause, let's take the L.id from wherever you want to copy that. Yep, and then we'll do let's do a equals and then a single quote, and then let's paste in that. We could do it by email, but let's do it by that subscriber key, which I pasted in the channel. That's definitely what path you could do it to, is definitely by email address. It's a good idea. Perfect. Yep, and it just needs that single quote at the end. Nice. Yep. Okay, perfect. All right, let's see if this works. Let's run this and see what we get. If there are any errors, no, so far so good. So we should see your record. We should see your email address. The status will be unsubscribed because that's what we want to write to all subscribers. And then we should be able to see whether the has opted out of email is true or false. And then we should be able to validate that subscriber status should be able to tell us, okay, bounced. Okay, so it was bounced. So that's interesting. That's good. I was sort of, I thought it was yellow, so it's fine. That's good. We still want to change it from bounce to unsubscribe because as we know, that bounce status is just temporary. It could still basically an active status. But we can see from her record here that she has opted out of email as we saw in that CRM record. So that flag is looking correct. We're seeing that data correctly. So what we want to do in this where clause now is we want to add in the filter that would qualify for this use case a little bit more specifically. So we're going to keep the ID that you've got there. Let's hit return. Let's do an and, all caps. Yep. And let's do L.has opted out of email. You can copy that from line 4. Yep. And then let's do equals, and I think you can just do a 1 there. I don't think you need a single quote on that. I think 1 is just fine. Perfect. And then let's do one more and on there as well. And then we want to do a s.status here. Okay, and then we're going to do a not equals. So we're going to do an exclamation point, and then an equals, and then we'll do a single quote, and we're going to do unsubscribed. Okay, so this scenario is basically checking like, hey, if you're, we're saying if somebody in CRM has said, I want to opt out of their emails, they've cut that check as a 1, but they're not unsubscribed and all subscribers, then they qualify for us to be sent into this ETL to update to unsubscribe. Now, this is a very specific use case. When you're building out your query, you want to handle all scenarios, right? So if somebody is unsubscribed in all subscribers, but they're active in Salesforce CRM, it would change. You have a little bit more of handle all of those use cases. We're not going to go into the detail today, but let's hit run. It should hopefully produce the same results. But what this logic does now, it sort of gives you an idea of how you would use this logic to evaluate records, beyond just Land's use case. And this is the logic that we'll use to populate the records. So you can just sort of see that logic in place. Now, while we're waiting for this query to run, let's go to that tab that you had created that we hadn't really done anything with, which was the tab right after the lead synchronized data. Oh, that's a perfect tab. We'll start there. What we want to do is create a data extension to capture the data that we're creating here. So if we go under the blue cloud in the upper left-hand corner, we're going to go into Email Studio, and we're going to go into email. Sometimes it doesn't. Oh yeah, okay, I think you're already there. So let's hit subscribers at the top, and we're going to go down to data extensions. Yep. And then we have a hands-on folder there. We can just do it in just the general hands-on folder. That's fine. And then we're going to create a new data extension. So if we go in the upper right-hand corner, we're going to create a blue button. Standard data extension works great. Okay, for this one, we can just call it Auto Studio ETL. And then let's make, just for best practices, let's use underscores instead of spaces between the words, just because it makes it a little bit easier to, yeah. Perfect. I don't think this has to be sendable, but we'll just check it anyways. Sometimes it may need to be. And we can fill out the description another time. We'll hit next. And we're not really going to worry about retention policies. This is going to be overwritten on a daily basis, so we won't have to worry about the retention on that. We'll hit next. Now, what we're going to want to do is copy a couple of the key fields from our query in here. So if we go back to our query, and there we go, it ran. So this, as you can see, based on that where statement, we're still getting the data returned, but this sort of gives that use case, right? We want to update them if they're not unsubscribed. All right, so the first field in the data extension, we're going to grab that subscriber key. Yep, and we're going to go bring that over to our, yep, we're going to paste that in there. We probably don't, we probably want that to be a primary key, just so there isn't any duplication there. And text at 50 makes sense. The lead or the contact ID is 18, so that should be plenty. Let's go back into our query. Let's grab that email field. It's not absolutely critical for this ETL, but it's helpful. And we'll paste that in there as well. We'll change that to the email type field. Yep, email address. And then the next field, the last field is status. We'll copy that. We'll paste that into the data extension. And that as a text field for 50 should be fine as well. Again, this is active, unsubscribed, bounce, held as a 4, status is deleted as the 5th one, but that should be fine there. And then the send relationship down there at the bottom, we'll just make sure that that's subscriber key. Yep. And we'll hit create on that. That should work. Okay, great. All right, so we've got our data extension, we've got our query. So now we can start building our automation. So you can work on this tab. So if you go to the blue cloud, yep, we're going to go into Journey Builder. In the center, yep, we're going to go to Automation Studio. And let's go into the hands-on folder on the lower left, over there on the left. And we can just build it right there, that's fine. So we're going to create new automation in the upper right-hand corner. And we'll drag over the schedule for this, just so that we have that there as a placeholder. We're not going to really need to configure that for right now, but just so that we have it. Let's put in a name so we can do the auto studio ETL, right where it says untitled automation in the upper left-hand corner. Yep. Perfect. Hit done. Let's hit save over there in the right-hand corner. I think that will save the name. Okay. And then we're going to add our query. So over there on the left, I think if you scroll down a bit, you see it's in the 4th row down, SQL query. Yeah, we're going to drag that into the canvas. And didn't add that. Let's try that one more time. Weird. Let's just refresh the screen, maybe. Oh, it's doing that. That's fascinating. Okay, let's try that one more time. There we go. Let's hit choose. We are going to create a new query activity. And we can call this same Auto Studio ETL. Perfect. And let's just choose a folder for this, otherwise it'll, and then there should be a hands-on folder. Yeah, you can just choose that main folder is fine. Fine. Yep, you can hit done. We're going to hit next. And then let's grab that query that you have in your Query Studio. Now we know that that works. We'll copy the entire query. Perfect. And we'll paste it in there. Let's hit the validate syntax just to see if everything checks out. Should get a green on that. Perfect. We'll hit next. And we're going to do an overwrite down there at the bottom. Again, this can just be, yeah, that makes sense for this use case. And then we're going to want to select the data extension. So over there on the left, if you scroll down a little bit, we should be able to find that hands-on folder. And I think if you open up the caret, you had it under the hands-on sessions, I think is where it's sitting. Yeah, so it's the fourth folder down. Yep, there we go. And then we'll select that. Perfect. We'll hit next. And finish. Awesome. Let's hit save. Okay, cool. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to add our data extract. So over there on the left, yep, we'll drag that into the second swim lane. We'll click choose. We're going to want to create a new data extract activity. Okay, we'll call this the same. Okay, and then what we're going to want to do is use a naming convention here. You can sort of see the recommended naming convention, that wildcard specifiers down there at the bottom. Let's see. I'm going to pull. I know this naming syntax can be a little tricky, so I'm just going to pull from an existing query data extract, and I'll send that to you in the channel. Okay, let me just send this in the chat. So we'll copy that, paste it in there. And then before the underscore, let's change that to Auto Studio ETL instead of the Privacy Center consent. Yeah. Okay, so all we did there was sort of a little bit of a quick step. You can see it's got the percent year, percent month, percent day, percent dot CSV. So that's all we did there, just to speed that up a little bit. Okay, and then the extract type, let's click on that. And so we want the extract type to be the data extension extract. Yep. And then we're going to click next on there. And then we'll leave that as common delimiter. Let's use all of those. We're going to check all of those boxes. Perfect. And then we need the data extension customer key here. So we're going to go to another one of your tabs. Let's go to that tab there. Perfect. And then let's go back to the email studio. Let's navigate to the data extension you created. There should be an external key associated with that data extension that we just need to copy and paste in that data extract. So if we go to data extensions, perfect. And if you go to your hands-on sessions, and then if we click on that, yep, Auto Studio ETL. So that, yep, that external key is what we want to copy, and then we want to paste that into our extract. PE customer key field. Perfect. We're going to hit next. And we can hit finish. Okay, that's part 2. We'll hit save. Very nice. And the next part we're going to add is the file transfer. Yeah, we'll create a new file transfer activity. We'll name it the same. We're going to select move a file from Safe House. Yep, we're going to hit next. We're going to want to copy that same naming convention that you got from the chat, and then we'll just change it to that Audio Studio ETL. Perfect. The exact targeted enhanced FTP is perfect. We'll leave that as is. And you should be good. We don't need to encrypt this for at least for this example. We'll hit next. And we'll hit finish. Okay, let's hit save. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to run this to populate that data extension, extract it. So let's hit run one. Let's select all activities. Awesome, we'll hit run. And that should be right over there on the right. Yep, there you go. Perfect. It shows you we're going to be running all three of those activities. We'll hit run now. Cool. And then if you click on that activity tab just to the right of that workflow tab, and then if you hit that refresh button over there on the right, it's right next to that under save. Yeah, cool. So it's doing its thing. We hit that refresh button one more time. It might just give us an update. So it might just take a second there to do that. So let's go back to our workflow, and what we're actually going to need before we go to that workflow, if you go to the data extension LAN that you have open, that tab, one more over to the right, we're going to want to go to that, the auto ETL data extension. One more over to the right. There you go. The data extension. So 3 over to the tab that's open. Yep, right there. Perfect. And let's go into records. Okay, so you can see it populated the data extension, which is great. Let's export this data. Over there on the left, there's a little export button. Perfect. We're just going to create a CSV, and we're going to do a browser download on here. See that down there, that browser download? Yep. And we can just hit export. And that should appear in your download folder, most likely. We're going to use this when we create the all subscribers file. So you can hit close. Okay, that's perfect. Let's go back to the Automation Studio tab. And let's just see, let's refresh the automation and see if it's still running. Perfect, awesome, cool. So that all looks good. Now let's go back into the workflow. No errors there, so most likely that file was populated. Now we're gonna build the last part, which is the data copy or import activity. Perfect, we'll click into there. We're gonna create a new copy or import definition. We'll do the same naming convention. Awesome. You can send that notification email to you. Okay, let's hit next. We're going to want to use the file location on this. So if you click the radio button, okay, cool. And then let's scroll down on this list and don't see anything yet. Sometimes it takes a second. Let's copy in, there it is. See that Audio Studio ETL? If you click on that, and let's just copy that, if you can, and paste it in that File name, yep, right there in that white space. And let's just paste that in there. And then I think if you click out of it, okay, see it says a file that name is, populated. So that validates. So this, we sort of skipped a step. We could have gone into our FileZilla to sort of see that file was created, but you can see it created in your import folder in the FTP. It's good just to paste that in there and you get that green check arrow. Everything looks good there. Awesome. So we'll hit next. And this is where we want to select all subscribers, the data extension that we're updating. So if you go to your subscriber list tab at the top there, yep. And then if you go to My Subscribers folder, sometimes it's hard to find all subscribers. And then if you click on all subscribers, there it is right there. Yep. And you can see in the upper right-hand corner, it selects all subscribers. Perfect. Awesome. That just indicates where we're updating it. Now, the last part we want to do is map the fields. So one thing that we're going to do on this data action, we're going to select update only. We do not want to add a subscriber. We just want to update, their status. So let's click that map manually. Radio button. Let's click there. Okay, now let's choose a file. See that right there. Yep. Let's select the little button. Choose file. Cool. That looks good. So let's bring over, so now we need to match the fields that we need to match for all subscribers. So the most important one is the subscriber key. So let's bring that subscriber key over and match it to subscriber key there. Perfect, got that match. Bring over email. And then the last but not least is status. Yep, so let's bring over status. Perfect. Let's hit next. Let's hit finish. Let's hit save. Okay. All looks good. Nice job, Lan. Let's do run once. We're going to run once again. And this, you can select all activities. So perfect. We'll hit run. And run now. So this, hopefully, fingers crossed, should work, right? So we are going to run through all 4 steps now. We saw that Lan's record was populated in the data extension. And yeah, we'll just refresh and hold this here while we're going. And hopefully we'll see, it's doing, so it did the data extract. File transfer should happen pretty quickly. And we'll see if there was any issues with the import activity. And the last thing that we'll check after this is all done is we're going to go back into all subscribers with that same subscriber status, same subscriber, and see if it changed to a red shirt. It's sort of like watching paint dry sometimes. Okay, now it's on step 3. Now it's doing the import activity. Fingers crossed we have no issues. Okay, great. Let's go back to we'll go back to Email Studio. Let's go to that all subscribers place. So if you go to the subscriber tab, yep, go to all subscribers. And we'll click into that all subscribers, yep. Try it one more time. Sometimes it doesn't give you that menu we're looking for. Yep, let's search for you again. Okay, fingers crossed, big reveal. Hopefully we'll see you now as a red shirt. Okay, phew, it worked. There you go. There's the ETL process. Pretty straightforward. Again, just for this use case, the query was pretty specific. We're just building that for that one use case. But there's your automated best practices way of updating all subscribers. using that ETL process, data extract, file transfer, and the import activity. Awesome job, Lynn. That was a lot. Any questions on what she just built here? Any questions from your end, Lynn?
Seems like you would have to know a little bit about SQL from what I'm gathering in order to do this and know where all your data points are. So, what's like a suggestion you would give for someone that's beginning or starting out, or like tips for how to do this?
Yeah. Yeah, in our session yesterday, we walked through sort of a basics of SQL. So I would definitely, that's going to be on YouTube in a couple of weeks. I would definitely watch that session. Incredibly helpful, just giving sort of a basics on that. If you create a new Google tab, I'll give you a great resource for those who are starting out with SQL. It's Matthews Dabrowski's. So if you type in Matthews, I think it's M-A-T, you might have been to his site before, E-U-S, let's see, let me, sometimes I don't have his, I'll drop in the channel his website. Yeah, Matthias's site is amazing. It's sort of like the AmpScript guide for SQL. So if you go to docs and snippets on the upper left-hand corner, and then if you go to SMC SQL, SQL, okay. So he's got this great SQL basics. If you click into there, he's got this great 5-step process that you can go through. He gives you an exercise, I think it's level 1 through 7 even, he's got, or 1 through 6. It gives you a use case and how you can build this out. He solves it for you, gives you ideas of different playgrounds. So this is a great way to start, building out that, foundation of SQL. And then as you're building it out, you can see on the left, he's got all the functions there that are incredibly helpful as a reference point, incredible documentation. So highly recommend leveraging Matthew's site. There's also a SQL 30 by the same group that did the AmpScript 30. You could search for that. And there's also in Stack Exchange. Yep, that's cool. I think it might be that one. I think it gives you a challenge every day in SQL to strengthen your capabilities. Super cool. So yeah, lots out there. Definitely share questions in the channel as well. So, all right, how to sync to on or opt out consent for those who has opted out true on CM between 15 minutes lag? That's a good question. You could write a script that does that updating of all subscribers via script via SSJS. If you wanted to speed that up, you can obviously create those automations, steps within an automation to speed that up as well. But typically, the use case is that you're running this on a daily basis so that you're keeping those two environments in sync. Usually the requirement for unsubscribing is not, less than 15 minutes. So, but definitely explore. You've got some options there, a little bit more complex if you need real-time unsubscribing. I got to hop to another meeting. So Lan, thank you. Amazing job for this session. That was quite a bit. It's so cool to see that pulled together end to end. And tomorrow's session, please join if you want to learn about different ways to send emails in Automation Studio. Thanks everybody for joining. and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.